Welcome, guys. This is Jared once again, and today we have the honor to have Frank Cheng, founder of Apeiron. Welcome, Frank. How are you doing?
Hi. Thank you for having me, Jose.
Of course, it's a pleasure. So I would like to start making some questions. I understand that Apeiron started as a Web2 game, and then it
Yep.
shifted to Web3. So I would like to know what made you make that change and how that change enhanced user experience.
Well, it all started 3 years ago. Uh, when we were developing on Web2, we were always trying to be our own publisher as well. I mean, we're an indie developer. The traditional developer and publisher model is one that we find Web2 publishers to go for Facebook ads, Google ads. It scales up very quickly over there. But in our eyes, we always wanted to try our hand at publishing and try to reach out more audiences. Apeiron was born to be a very different game. The gameplay, the genre, the stories, and the artwork have all been very unique. And we spent many years to make sure that it's very unique in the Web2 space already. We pivoted to Web3 after witnessing Axie Infinity. So my co-founder, who's actually the COO and the main one that develops the game and everything, I'm just the investor and the spitballer that comes up with all the ideas. But he told us to look into blockchain early, and he really pushed hard for our entire team to look into Axie Infinity. He always looked out for the latest technologies and the latest grounds, and then we studied Axie very intensely since the beginning of 2021. And we found it to be a very, very interesting model. And it's the rise of Axie together with blockchain games, the gaming guilds, is actually spectacular. And we think the formula, the business model they presented, is extremely incredible. And Apeiron shares a lot of similarities. It only takes us to make a few tweaks. Well, we thought it would be a few tweaks. It actually took us half a year. But to modify it to become a blockchain game and to utilize that narrative with token breeding, scholarships, rentals. But it feels like the piece of the muscle that the puzzle that's missing in Apeiron, because when we worked on like a free-to-play mobile game model back then, it had a good monetization. We will have a good run, maybe for 6 months to a year, but that model, it does not fulfill what we truly dream of, and that's turning Apeiron into a full gaming franchise. But Web3, with its growth, its distribution method, and the possibility of possibly aligning the users with us was ideal. So we took the efforts to remodel the whole game into a blockchain game. And from there, before the fundraising, we built the community. We find them to give us feedback, and everything just fell right for Apeiron, because Apeiron is a rather giant game. It's actually 3 to 4 games merged into one gaming experience. Blockchain with the NFTs, the token incentives, ownership, the community building, actually they all help us grow into a much larger franchise. And from there, even from past the point of a game into finding a loyal and core fan base that can help push the product with us around the world, that's the right fit. And then we continue to evolve. We met better partners. We met more and more community members. We found a great chain to go on to, and things have been looking brighter and brighter ever since we moved on to this side. And I think it is only in Web3 that true innovation on gameplay, on tech, and on everything can be achieved, because to be honest, there's a lot of hot money and liquid money in Web3. And the people here are more willing to invest and take a bigger stake into these new projects. And this is exactly what new projects need. And also, of course, the survivability rate and the survive rate in Web3 is also very tough. The ones that cannot keep up, they will fade away. But those who do, and those who manage funding coming in, they will thrive. There will be no other industry or place in this world that will get as much attention and money and iteration as much as Web3. And I think for me personally, if I babble a lot, but I think
Don't
Web
worry.
always will always be here for this hot prototyping, hot money. It's the best place for it. Will this become the new mainstream technology? I'm not sure. I even think may not. But I think Web3 will always be where the latest ideas and prototypes will take place, and it will evolve more and more to become a really streamlined place for new ideas to be born. Where the mainstream and main adoption will come for Web3, I don't know. It will, but I am sure it will be born here. And
Definitely.
and I'm very happy to be part of this experiment.
That's great. And you started on another network, and then you migrated to Ronin.
Yep.
Which characteristics of Ronin made you choose that network?
So in the beginning, it was well, frankly, I have to be honest, it was mostly the money. They right off the bat, IMX and Ronin were the two chains that offered us the huge grant right off the starts. So it attracted us and to look into that in the beginning. But to be honest, my co-founders, who are the tech and the development guys, they have always favored Ronin because we were watching Axie as we were looking into blockchains. We have been studying their tokenomics, we have been studying their crowds, their wallets in the beginning. We are accustomed to their whole tech and their wallets already. But when we drew it down to really choosing a chain that can really help us, the reason we want to move is because we want a chain to give us more attention, much like any project wants more help in terms of marketing, guidance, publishing, more dedicated help. Because well, we're a rather large game and we're approaching the launch. We want to get more advice and support from the chain, which we very much view as the publishing arm of Web3. Well, not the publishing arm. It's more like the console that we deal with developing on. Developing on Ronin is like developing on Nintendo. I mean, there'll be many different chains with their own games coming on out. Will they be our publisher, or are they just providing the technology? We hope there could be more, and Ronin offers that right off the bat. That was only just the beginning. We also analyzed the markets, where they're headed. Ronin have a very clear direction towards focusing on games and only a few games, which I repeatedly always say, I love Ronin because they're picky. There are so many projects and chains and VCs out there that give funding or support very easily. They don't really pick much other than valuation and FDV. But they do more. They really study the game. They look into the potential of the genres. They do a very tough due diligence, which I love in my investors, because that means they actually spend the time to pick and understand the project. And then from there, it was where they're going at. The Ronin is clearly going for mobile. They have a very strong Asian presence, which I think for the future of Web3 gaming, I think that is a very good market to start in. Because if you look into traditional gaming, Steam users till this day hate mobile games, not to even mention Web3 games. So there are always these users over there they are diamond hands, they have a strong whale accounts, but we can't rely on these few champions to allow us to reach mass adoption. If we look into mobile gaming, the user base on mobile are more open to new stuff and new ideas because it is so accessible, and the monetization on mobile is so friendly and easy. So they are more accustomed to spending microtransactions and small amounts here and there to test and get into new stuff. That has a lot of synergy with Web3 crowds and blockchains. And we think that is a much better market to start in, especially for gaming. And so we went there. But I think everything really changed after we went there. I mean, we analyzed it from a very commercial angle, from a very investment angle, and survivability angle, actually. But ultimately, after getting on Ronin chain, like actually seeing the Ronin chain, there are two things that's truly different and impressive. You see a group of founders and the core team members here dedicated to your project, and you is incredible. And you don't even have to request; they will do it themselves. This is probably one of the investor, your dream investor is someone that you don't have to constantly ask them for help, and they will do it. They will show it for you. They will always be championing you, and they will be the first ones to go there and buy something on the marketplace for you without you asking. I mean, that is very happy to have as a partner. And the second one is their community. The Ronin crowds are insane. They are fervent, they are very loyal, and they are very supportive. Whether they invest or not, they are still there. They will be there for you. They will champion behind your cause. They will rally behind you. They will support you on social media, whether they actually invested or not. And these crowds is you cannot find such a large organic crowd just like that in Web3. Throughout the 2 years I've been building on the previous chain, it took many grassroots efforts going from AMA to AMA, working on the game beta and alpha to get people on board one by one. Even all the quest platforms that I've tried, which I've probably tried all of them, it's easy to attract a bunch of users, but they come and go like hunters and seekers. The Ronin crowds, they come here and stay, and they are very organic, and they move like a hive, which is extremely incredible. They give you the core user base that you need to really expand, and they are crowds that have been through a lot of stuff here in Web3, and it's. And I myself find myself very much attached to the Ronin crowd as well, because they are very fervent and very loyal, and I want to repay this favor to them for being so supportive and helping us reach where we are at this stage right now, and they definitely expedited us in the entire process. So yeah.
Great, amazing. Yeah, it has a really beautiful community. So hello to all the running community.
Yeah.
So I spoke with several gamers and content
Mm.
creators, and there's a ton of hype, and also really linked to esports. Which aspects of Apeiron do you think it's most attractive for competitive gaming?
Well, the battle system of Apeiron is very unique, and it's actually designed to be very streamer friendly. There's the main control element, and then there's also the dark heart based element that actually offers a huge depth and skill ceiling in gameplay that even the most seasonal LOL, Dota, TFT, and Clash Royale players find themselves entertained and discovering something new. They made it's very funny watching the balance and watching the gamers. They always think they found the meta, and they think everyone with the meta will win, and then they suddenly discover another meta, and it shifts from time to time, and we are witnessing this. And what's the esports angle that's given birth right now, well, of course, is the arena mode that we are playing in. This is actually the core economy of Apeiron. There's a whole win to earn element behind it, and competitive play, streaming, tournaments is what we're doing almost every day now. We even have like our first day of the official creator tournament in the Western Conference today. But in terms of esports, though, like I always say, I mean, I respect esports too much to call myself an esports. I think there still needs to be a lot of balancing, testing to be done, because our gameplay is absolutely new. There is no similar gameplay you can find in the space compared to us. You can find similarities here and there with other games that our developers played, but with the game this new, I think we still have to do a lot of balancing and trial and error before we can call ourselves an official esports games. But everything in between, casual competitive, doing tournaments, doing live streams, doing physical tournaments, this is everything we will do, because Well, I'm a very competitive gamer, and I love playing competition, and I respect skillful players. So this is definitely something we want to achieve, and I always want to compare us more like to the Supercell, to the Clash Royale type of tournaments. Some people call them esports, but it's esport-esque is what I call it. I think down the line we will definitely challenge esports territory once the game is more balanced and we even have the multiplayer modes out, where there's more than 1v1. I think that is truly something we can do. But before that, we'll go more casual competitive. We'll host tournaments. We'll host real life events. We'll create championships and cups. We'll fly top players around the world to compete. We'll do the whole rodeo. But we think we are still some way to go before the true esports scene. But it definitely helped us garner a lot more attention, especially after the tournament today. I mean, we witnessed the Web2 creators from esports teams, from ex-pro players, ex-casters playing our game, and the feedback have been unanimously very, very good. And a lot of them even bought a planet and started their first wallets after experiencing our game. So we're very happy to see that. And a lot of them say it's they're very glad to be one of the first movers in Web2 to try us, and that means a lot to us, because I mean, if there is a game in Web3 that can challenge mainstream games, I think Apeiron will be that game.
I bet it will do. So now regarding one of your recent announcements. So congratulations, you launched successfully a token a few days ago. Yeah. So would love to know what prompted the decision to launch that token.
Well,
and if you can also expand a bit on the tokenomics of it.
Yes. Well, as we said, the moment we decide to pivot to Web3 is because we witnessed Axie Infinity. And we think what we witnessed was one of the most powerful token models we've seen. Well, actually, we haven't seen much. We've only seen CryptoKitties, Decentraland, and Axie Infinity. But after pivoting to Web3 and witnessing all these new games rise, we think a lot of them may be experimenting with a lot of different models. We are not trying to experiment any new type of token model. We want to improve upon what is proven to be successful. That's actually Axie Infinity. Their token model did achieve huge stats and allowed it to survive and thrive. Of course, there are still minor utility improvements and supply and demand mechanics that we should improve upon. But they have proven a very powerful model, and we see it in the eyes of token breeding. A lot of NFTs out there, like the first feedback most people have is, why are NFTs worth that much? What validates it? There really isn't, except for secondary markets and people trading off each other. Breeding using tokens actually helps substantiate the value, because the price of the NFTs will naturally align with the cost of creating a new one, which is breeding. In Axie Infinity, they use tokens to breed the NFTs. In the beginning, when the token price was low, the breeding costs were very cheap. But then the Axies were costing around $50 all the way to $100 to $200 back then. People found it actually very profitable to breed. So they kept buying the tokens and buying the NFTs, and they kept breeding it so that they can earn an arbitrage by selling the new breeds or by renting them. This is actually a very powerful model, of course, as long as you don't screw up the supply and allow people to infinite breed as much as they want. There needs to be some mechanism to gate it. And we think it's brilliant. And so we modeled something similar. We have our planets actually able to breed using the tokens. And we will continue to educate the community. And our new use is that in the initial phase, the core utility of the NFTs and the tokens is actually to breed them. We have around 10,000 planets right now, but we certainly don't have just 10,000 players. We have more and more players. We are rising by 30. On average, we're rising by 30% every 2 weeks. And these players are all looking for planets. Our planet's floor price is around $300 right now, but breeding only costs 20 to 50 tokens, which is $20 to $50, and you can get a brand new planet that's worth $300 to $500. It's actually quite a impressive opportunity for people who know. That's why we have all of those early XC breeders in here as well, breeding and expanding, and this gives rise to both the token and the NFT demand. How do we balance it in the late end when we have more users? Is actually in the system itself that we've designed. So that's one of the incentives that we see to use the tokens. But the other one is the more obvious one. Games often rely on giving rewards and incentives to acquire users and retain users. Back then, most games did it with in-game currencies. Mobile games are doing it with a lot of in-game items, premium currency that they give to you in the beginning, 10 gacha chances for free when you start a new game. These are all incentives that keeps players coming. Now we have real-world tokens that can actually be used and traded. It's actually very powerful. But of course, a lot of people are still afraid of the scams, which is very valid because there are still a lot of scams out there. But once we get past this phase, once we validated the project and found ways for people to on-ramp and off-ramp, this tokenization is, I think we are both in the Web3 space. We know how powerful this is. Real monetary incentives combined with gaming mechanics is actually, well, this is the most powerful incentive program in this world. The only thing we really have to deal with is the regulations. Which part is legal? How do we make sure we can get on Google Play, iOS, and even Steam? But we still manage to allow users to play for free. If they want to start a wallet, if they want to go the whole Web3 route, we have another funnel to filter them over there. That is the key. And it would be very easy for us to convince them because honestly, gamers will find every advantage they can in the game, and they will naturally find the Web3 parts. And we hope we can be one of the games that help onboard users into this experience, and they will learn about it. We have to be careful because down the road, we still have work with the main Web2 platforms, which still holds the keys to every single kingdom out there right now. Web3 space is still a little too early to onboard that mass of players. But once we do get on Google Play and iOS, with our game quality and the amount of content we offer, I am very confident we will be able to drive a lot of adoption here. And we will definitely be sure to make sure that our users stay safe in the space. That is one thing that we should dedicate ourselves to.
That's great. And finally, I spoke with several gamers that wanted to know when the God mode is going to be launched. I heard rumors that maybe somewhere in Q2, but if you have some more information regarding
right
that,
now,
it would be amazing.
it would be closer to Q3 and Q4 for the God game. Yeah, because right now we are really what you see in the space right now is the arena game mode. We're going to incorporate the dungeon, the PvE experience, and also a lot of story experience into the game coming up, like in 1 month's time. And that is the core battle part of Apeiron, which is also the economy where it's at. I think in the first 3 to 6 months, we will heavily test this token economy. God Game Simulation is fun. It is the whole reason I found the company and the whole reason I started this project. But at the same time, God Game Simulation is also, well, simulation games are great fun to play, to grind, and also to watch. But do they have a very strong monetization power? Do they have that long-lasting and fun competition elements that helps economies grow? Sadly, they don't. So that's why we chose to develop the battle first, because the battle part is a lot harder to develop. There's balancing, there's the skill, depth, and ceiling that we have to take care of. We want to do this first. The God Game Simulation is there, and we will continue to evolve it. When the economy is tested, when the retention rates are tested, we'll plug the God game in and go for the full launch, which should be, I think, 6 months after token launch, which is around October, will be the time where we release it. And that is where we go for the full launch. That is when we go for the animations, the God game, turning the game into an IP franchise is ultimately where we want to envision everything. Right now, even with the token launch and with the coming game launch, we want to test the core retention, the core economy. We have to keep reiterating what that core token economy is, and people are coming in here buying and using their tokens, and that the people are staying in the game. The retention rates must be tested on mobile. Once we have all that, we can go for the full launch, and that's when we really open up all the blasters. Before that, I'd say we would still be experimenting very carefully what is the right tokenomics, because it's the Web3 space. I mean, we come here, we publish the game, we get the game out. People will try to get the tokens via the game. People will try to hold on to the tokens. But what we really want are people using the tokens. We want to encourage them that there's a better opportunity to grow their assets if they learn to use the tokens, not just hawk and speculate it. And of course, with the tokens out, we can really test these different dynamics. We can test different channels, press releases, creators, interviews, to see where we can find the right audience and expand over there. I think it's still an early beginning, much like many other projects think launching the token is it. I mean, that's the end goal for a lot. But for us, it's really just the beginning. And there's
I can tell.
so
I
much
can
more.
tell it's not your final objective. You're just starting.
We spent a lot of years.
Yeah, I know.
Spent a lot of
That's
years
what
on
I
this.
wanted to know. I mean, like, you have 8 years in the market, but I feel everyone is hyped, like as it was like just a brand new one. You know, it's like you have like a ton of energy and ton of interest from gamers.
That's good.
I can
And
tell.
they will see even a lot more in a month's time when the game launches. The story mode is out of this world, and the amount of content and depth we've created with this game will be very unique, not just for Web3, but for Web2 as well.
Great. Okay. Frank, thank you very much for joining. And thanks everyone there on the other side. Bye-bye.
Thank you, Jose.